Thank you, Miss Judy. Yay. I appreciate it. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you, or else I'd just be talking to Vicky Goodman for the 1900th time. But but thank you so much. And one of the things that I really, really, really like to do is just make sure that we are on a clear page on what our things are that we want to do in judging, because that's helpful, right? And if anybody has ever tried to put together a judging team, it's sometimes difficult to do. And I don't know if it's because people are not sure of what to do and they're afraid to say that, or they don't think they're good enough, but everybody can do this. And the more you do it, the better you get. Yes or yes? Right? Okay, there you go. Let's us do this. I'm going to cover 6 things really quick tonight. And we're happy to have some discussion at the end if you'd like. But I want to talk about what makes a good judge, and then what are the 3 purposes of actually having a contest. This kind of puts it into perspective. The other thing are the obligations that we have as a judge, because yes, we do have them. What is the difference between judging and evaluating? We're so used to evaluating in our clubs that we're just not sure. The other thing is there are 7 barriers. I'm sure there are probably more, but I'm going to touch on 7 different barriers of bias, maybe, of maybe being fair with a contestant. And then I'll open it up to Q&As if that's okay. So my mission truly is to get a solid foundation of judging, so we're all on the same page. And I'll share with you that I'm not making things up, that I actually have it out of not only the Toastmasters manual about judging, but I have been a judge a lot. I actually like being a judge, except when all the speakers are really, really good. Then it's really hard. If you've ever had that situation. I've also judged up at the international level and been trained by the international team as well. So I have a little bit. Now, there are a couple things that I have my own personal opinion on, and I will tell you when that is. So I will not be representing Toastmasters International on something that is Beth's opinion. So I will alert you to that fact. Okay, if you have the handout, hopefully, then we are on the Beware of the Dog. I would love for you all to say in the chat, what makes a good judge, or what makes a great judge? Let's don't stop at good. What makes a great judge? What do you think? Chat fall. Impartial. Okay. No favorites. Fairness. Yep. Oh, listening. Vicky's got it. Yeah, good. You got to listen. Good listening. Ah, Kathy, yes, not the halo effect. And that's actually one of the biases I'm going to cover. Honesty. Oh, Vicky, that doesn't surprise me. You say that. Eric, paying attention, listening and fair. Experience. Yes, experience is a good one, because the more you do it, the better you get. Right?
Beth,
Okay.
your sound just went off. Okay, you're back.
Oh, am I back? Okay. Oh, here. I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you for letting me know, Vicky. All right. So how about being accurate? That's another one. You need to be accurate. So you need to know what the ballot form says. And every time, even though I have been judging for years on end, since I think Noah and the Ark, I still review the ballot each and every time, because I might forget and I want to look at it. The other thing, you already hit fair and partial, trustworthy. The contestants have placed trust in you. And so many times they have spent hours and hours and days and weeks, especially the further they go in the contest levels, they have spent an awful lot of time and invested an awful lot into presenting to the audience. And so it is our job to be trustworthy in what we're doing. We also need to be knowledgeable about what the current contest rules are. Somebody tell me, where do we find the contest rules? Anybody?
In the contest rule
In the
book.
contest rule book. Okay. And it is surprising me sometimes when judges, contest chairs, the contest chair is the person who's organizing the contest, as well as contestants, some of them forget that we have a rule book, and it is incumbent upon us to make sure that we take a gander. And it's not long. You just look specifically for what you're doing in which contest, and it's fine. It just tells you everything there. And you already hit the good listening, so that's perfect. So why do you think we have contests? Throw it in the chat. Let's do chat fall. There are three specific reasons why we have contests. Why do you think that is? Oh yeah, Judy, thank you. Yeah, the correct year for the contest rulebook. Okay, Christina, to become better, to raise the bar, to learn from the best, to learn from others how to improve. There are three stated, there you go, opportunities for speakers. Okay, there are three stated reasons why we have contests from Toastmasters International. One is to provide competitive speaking experience for members. Number two is to provide interesting educational programs for members and the public. So don't forget, the contest can certainly be a wonderful open house event to get people there. That could be something fun to do. And then the third reason that TI tells us that we need to have contests is to provide the audience an opportunity to learn by observing proficient speakers. Everybody with me so far? Okay. Let me ask you this. To whom do judges have an obligation? There are four. To whom? Put it in the chat. Throw it in there. You're already ahead of me. Contestants, Toastmasters. Yep. Absolutely. Okay, number one, contestants. You hit it, obviously. They are entitled to a professional performance from each of us because, as I shared already, and if you've ever been a contestant, you know the blood, sweat, and tears you put into doing that. And they expect and deserve the fairness that we can provide. The second one is Toastmasters International because they have a reputation for speech training. So they're a little picky about that, in case you haven't noticed. The third thing is the audience. The audience deserves a great contest. And this is an aside. This is Beth saying this. Please be prepared and ready to go. There's nothing worse than coming in as a guest or an audience member and everybody's still scurrying around and they haven't set everything up yet. That's not a real good idea. So make sure you're ready to go. So that's a great first impression. And then the fourth obligation is to yourselves. Why? Because you have made a personal commitment to self-improvement and you have dedicated to making the correct decision for the contest. So those are the four things that TI, Toastmasters International, shares. All right, so the judging versus evaluating. Which one are you writing? I love that picture. I just get such a tickle. I have used that picture a lot. I just laugh at it. Anyway, evaluations measures against the speech purpose, right? So if you are having a speech in your club, often clubs will ask the evaluator to state the purpose for the speech so that everybody understands where the speaker is supposed to be placing their emphasis. Now, judging is different. And this is where I get everybody to go. I want everybody to unmute for a second. Everybody unmute. This is going to be a train wreck because we're all on different bandwidths, but I'm going to give this a shot. Okay, evaluations measure against a speech purpose. So I'm going to ask you to softly clap with me. Okay, just a clap with me, right? Okay, just clap with me. And I'm going to want you to follow and say what I'm saying. Okay, what judges do
What
is your
judges
What
job
judges
do
do
is to get the best speech of the day.
is to
The
get the
best
best
speech
speech
of
of the
the
day.
day.
The best speech of the
Speech of the
day.
day.
The
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 best
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 speech
speech
of
of
the
of the day.
That's it. So it's not an evaluation. Okay, go back on mute in case a dog barks like mine. Okay. It's not like an evaluation, which is against the purpose. It is the best speech of the day. And we know that Sally Sue was fantastic. She's always fantastic. But today she was not fantastic, but I know she'll be fantastic the next time. So I'm going to mark her higher. No. And this is the hard part. This is the hard part, right? So is everybody with me so far? Anybody have a question on that? Okay, good. And I want you to know that I started doing the clap thing long time ago. I've been doing this wonderful little thing for a while, and I'll still have people come up to me just out of the blue, like at a TLI or something. They'll just walk up to me and they go, "Best speech of the day." And I'm like, yes. So don't forget it. You'll be thinking of that in your sleep tonight. Now, this part came from Toastmasters International on the international level when I was being trained there, that there are some common speech misconceptions, and I want to share them with you, and they should be on your handout. This is misconception number one. Speeches must be serious, motivational, or inspirational. No. If you've ever heard some of the winners at the international level, they are funny, right? I mean, Louisa, I forgot her name. She won last year and 2 or 3 years ago. Louisa, oh, I can't remember her name. Anyway, but she was very, very funny and also had a message. So the contestants just have an original speech. So it does not have to be serious, motivational, or inspirational. So do not count down for any of that stuff. The second thing is the quality of the speech is based solely on the emotion it provokes. That is myth number 2. No, it is not the biggest sob story. It's not, okay? It is just because it's sad or motivational, it doesn't mean that it was the best speech of the day, right? And that's really important, really important. Okay.
Montova, last name Montova.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. Louisa Montova, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, look her up. Her speeches, I think her one that she came in, I think she came in second, because I was there and saw her do this, and she was really funny and really, really good. And then the one that she won, I didn't think was as good as the other one, but it was very good. She's an excellent presenter. So if you
37
ever,
Strangers. We watched her video at Vista this past Thursday
oh,
night.
did you? Awesome.
We watched her video in our club. Yeah.
Awesome. That's one of those things that I've done. If you have a club meeting the week after New Year's, nobody's going to be prepared, right? So I always just, okay, if I'm VPE, we're watching the 3 winners from last year. We're watching, so then we critique it and that kind of thing. It gives everybody kind of a break. So that's excellent. Well, it's always good to watch these people and critique what they're doing. Okay, now the next thing is hear about judges, guide, and ballot. Okay. And this is something that I have talked to people about and used different methods. On the ballot, how it has a range of numbers, 1 through 15, 1 to 7, that kind of thing. Some people do well with that. I personally do not. That's not how I do it. Some people will even take, you have the ballot and it's got the name slots at the top, right? The name slots at the top. And they'll take the contestants in order, the first one all the way over on the left side, all the way over on, I'm sorry, the right side, all the way over on the right side. And then they'll put next and next, and they go into where all the words are on the left. You know what I mean? Am I missing everybody? Okay, so the names go right to left, and they'll take the judge's thing, and they'll have given their evaluation or whatever there is, their numbers, and then they fold it back like that, so that they only see the next name, and then they'll fold it back like that. So they're not being influenced by seeing the numbers from what they gave everybody else. When you also know you have to break your own tie. So if you have 2 or 3 people, let's say you have 7 contestants and you have 2 or 3 people who are the same, then you need to break your own tie. You also can change it. So if after you look at the whole thing, it's all done, you're looking at all of your ballot, you're seeing all of the scores, and you're thinking, you know what? I think this person really should win this. And just because you might have scored it differently at the time, you have a right. I mean, nobody should be peering over your shoulder. So you should be able to change it. The other thing is, some people use pluses and minuses. You know, they did this really well, they did this. They might use 3 pluses, meaning a high score in that category. And it could be, you know, presentation style or audience reaction or whatever, you know, it might be on the judge's ballot, right? The other thing is that you could devise your own way of doing it. And I'll share with you how I do it. I watch the first person, and I will always write down either the title, or once they start speaking, I'll put like just a little phrase or something, so that after I've heard 7, 8, 9, 10 speakers, I know who spoke on the lost dog. I'll know who spoke on something, you know, particular topic wise. And then I'll just watch. I'll watch the first speaker, and I'll take note of everything that is on the judge's ballot. And I'll go, okay. And then I watch the second person. And then I will rank them. One is first and one is second. And then I'll see the third speaker, and I'll go, okay. He should be first. Then that means the first moves to second, second moves to third. Does that make sense? That's how I do it, because I can't do the numbers and that just throws me off. But whatever works for you, as long as it is consistent, I think that would be that's important. So consistent across the line. Does anybody have another way of doing it that would be helpful or something good to know? Okay. All right. Then I have a question for you. Here's my question. Show of electronic hands here. Now I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. Who has been in a contest as a contestant? I know Vicky has. I've seen her. Clydeen, Rosemary. All right. Oh, I know Randall has. Vicky. Oh my goodness. Look at all our contestants. My goodness. Yes. Okay. Earl. Hey, Earl, you snuck in. I didn't see you. All right. Hands down. Everybody lower hand. All right. And then how many of us have been judges at the club and or area level? Okay. Okay. All right. Lori, I see your thumbs up. All right, hands down. How about division or district level? All right. Excellent. Okay. That's just good to know. I'm just like knowing who I'm talking to. All right, hands down. Anybody else besides me at an international level, whether it's region, semifinal? Kathy, what about you, Vicky? Vicky Goodman? No? Well, it's just you and me, Kathy?
Not me. It was not me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. It could be that I was region advisor. So they could, because I do know that when they start getting into international, they start, you know, asking people in higher roles in districts. So that could be it. All right. Well, that's what I just wanted. I wanted to find out who I was talking to. All right, let's go back. Let's go back. Share. Yay. Yeah, oh, it worked. I want you guys to know that I found this little way of I am sharing my slide, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. I can't see it. So that's the only challenge, is that when you're doing the little screen share and things, I can't see what you're looking at. All right, here we go. I put in the Halloween just for you guys.
Awesome.
All right, let's talk about there are 7 barriers that I want to just touch on. It's about the biases and things. One is speaking position in the speaking order. It is natural for us as humans to remember the beginning and the end rather than the middle speaker. So the first couple we might remember, the last couple we'll remember, but it's ones in the middle. I'm sure if you have done a lot of speaking, you've heard somewhere, well, make sure your start is really good and your closing is really good, because people will remember what you said in the middle. You know, make sure your opening and your close is really strong, because they'll remember that, you know. But sometimes we forget who the speakers are. And as a matter of fact, I can't remember who it was, but somebody in our district plotted all, like, I don't know, a decade or more of international winners and where they were in speaking order. And sure enough, a lot of them who were towards the beginning or at the end, more of them, and it could have just been they were better speakers. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting. All right, number 2 is the champion for the underdog. Now, you know, we love to root for the underdog. Who is old enough to remember Eddie the Eagle in the Olympics from England doing that downhill where he, like, what, I don't know what you got, Sue. All right, good. Somebody's old enough with me. But that's the one where they jump. I don't know what, I guess long jump, is that what they call it? And Denise, thank you. And he was this nerdy little guy. He was not an athlete, but he chose the downhill jump or the long jump or whatever they call it on the skis that are like longer than a boat and they float down. He chose that because nobody from England was doing it. So he wanted so badly to be in the Olympics that he, yeah, and he chose to do that. And I just thought that was such great chutzpah. Well, he's like this little guy and he was the underdog. The whole world was rooting for this guy. It was the funniest thing. It was really cute. I mean, he was just so much fun. And then they started calling him Eddie the Eagle. And then, you know, fly, eagle, fly. And this song was I mean, it's just crazy. But that's, you know, the underdog is who we tend to root for. You know, they deserve success. They're trying so hard. You know, everything is against them and we want them to win. Well, judges are to judge only on the criteria on the ballot sheet. It's the best speech of the day. If Eddie the Eagle has the best speech of the day, then by golly sakes, we're going to do Eddie the Eagle, right? All right. The third one that was alluded to already by somebody, by Vicki Goodman, saying the halo effect. Oh, heavens, yes. Inclination to admire something that somebody does outside of the speech contest. For instance, those of you who know me, you know I rescue horses and very large dogs. Isn't Beth fabulous because she rescues animals, and oh, she should win because she rescues animals and I love dogs. You know, no, if I'm not the best speech of the day, I don't win. So it's the, you know, and the other thing too is just because somebody has a real dynamic delivery, it does not equal compelling content. It just because they're really good at the animation doesn't mean that their content was best speech of the day. Okay. All right. The fourth one, reverse halo effect, is just the same thing, only the opposite. I disapprove of your actions when I saw that you did XYZ. So therefore, I have a bias against you and I am not going to rate you very high because of that. Now, that's not fair. So let's not do that. Don't downgrade others. if you're unhappy with one thing that they have done or not done or what have you. All right, number 5, and this one is almost kind of like an underdog kind of thing, but it's called the second time around. You know, some contestants, and we've seen them, we know who they are. They strive every year to win the international speech contest or to win the humorous speech contest, or this year the tall tales. You know, they strive, they want to do this, and they try year after year after year. Well, if this is the second or third time and you really win it, you want it for them because they're working so hard, but they're not the best speech of the day, you can't do that. You can't give them extra credit for, you know, tenacity. That's not on the judge's ballot. So don't put that on there. Number 6, outside the norm. Now that one's kind of ambiguous, but it's where if you believe that other people should be sharing your opinion or a custom. And here's the example I give. There are some cultures who don't necessarily walk around the stage. Some cultures will stand behind a lectern because that's just how their culture is. Now, we won't see that at the international speech contest, and we certainly wouldn't see it in our district. But that's one of those things that Toastmasters International has mentioned. So I thought I would put that in there, that if they have a custom or something that is not something that we're used to, it doesn't necessarily mean that that is to be voted down. Oh, here's one. And this is, I call it Toastmaster lore. I have heard the don't say thank you. Now, I have not heard that when you have international speech contests. I haven't heard it at contestant time, but if anybody says thank you at the end of a speech, that's not a grade down type of thing. There's no rule that says you can't do that. It's just not a custom that we tend to do. It's not right, it's not wrong, that's just what it is. Okay, number 7, the last one, prejudices and personal preferences. Now, judging is not real easy sometimes, especially when you get higher up in levels because the speakers just get better and better and better. And judging is a subjective process that we are trying to make objective. Subjective to try to make it objective. And this is why we need to have several judges to restrict the effect of one person's particular taste. That's why it's important. So when the rule book says for a division, I don't remember, so correct me if I'm wrong, at division level, you need 7 judges or 5 judges. Get 5 or 7. Don't just go, oh, well, we only have 3. Because you're not taking care of any kind of subjective issue going on, and you have the numbers to be able to counteract something else that might be an outlier. So it's important to have the numbers that you need that are required. Okay, and then I have a question for you. I have surveyed people, and I haven't done it recently, but I did survey a lot of people when it came to contest time. And I asked them about the international speech contest. What, as a judge or as an audience member, and you see the results of the judges, what is your number one pet peeve about the contest results? And do you want to know without fail, what do you think they said? And I mean without fail, 100%. Put in the chat, what do you think they said? What's your number one pet peeve with the international speech contest in particular? Oh, I've stumped you. What do you think? Tear jerking when the right winners don't win? Acting. Yes, Julie, there's a difference in acting and presenting. Yes. Good old boy. Emotions over execution. Yep. All right, y'all are on the right track. I mean, without fail, I probably asked at least a dozen people, and they all said that the biggest sob story wins. I remember being newer to Toastmasters. I think I'd only been around maybe a year. And I went to an area contest and I was shocked at who won. Basically, all she did was yell. She talked very loudly and repeated herself 3 times, but it was a big sob story. Then you had 4 other speakers. I mean, I'll never forget it. It was an area contest. Then there were 4 other speakers. One of them was really good, and there was another one who was pretty good as well. The one that was loud won because she had the biggest sob story. And that, I remember, that made me so mad. I was just like, this isn't right. And that's, so you all are on the same track as I am. Okay, now I want y'all to unmute and somebody tell me, how do you explain table topics to somebody new as a guest in your club? How do you explain what it is? Somebody tell me.
I will say it's an opportunity that we all have to speak extemporaneously and to have fun doing it. Just to speak for 1 to 2 minutes and don't even have to tell the truth. Just make it a beginning, middle, and end and just have fun with it.
It's extemporaneous. Okay, anybody else? What else do you tell a guest?
I tell
would
them it's an
say-
opportunity. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I tell them it's an opportunity to practice thinking on your feet so that you can organize your thoughts. So you have a coherent story, a coherent thought process from beginning to end.
Yeah, Randall, how do you do it?
You'll be given a question, and you'll want to answer that question. If you don't have an answer for that question, you can pivot, make it up, go to something else. Think about a politician. A politician can give you a 2-minute answer without really telling you anything.
And politicians are great to watch because they don't answer the question they were asked. They answer the question they wanted you to ask. They're very good at that. There must be a school somewhere. There's training on how to do that. But does anybody, I want you to raise your electronic hand if you tell guests that a table topics is a canned speech. Anybody?
Mm,
Anybody? Anybody? No? Okay.
yeah.
All right. That's the one of the things that I ask people, what is your biggest pet peeve about table topics contest? And without fail, that somebody uses a canned speech or somebody uses a speech that they have or what have you. Okay. I happen to call that, I'm going to offend somebody, but I happen to call that liar, liar, pants on fire, because that's not what it's supposed to be, right? That is not what it's supposed to be. It is supposed to be, as Kathy said, extemporaneous, that it is something that you come up with, as Vicky said, on the spot. You are trying to get your brain and your train to where it can come up with ideas quickly, right? Now, I'm going to share with you that I think it's incumbent on, I'll tell you what, y'all hang on 1 second. Y'all don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Don't anybody go anywhere. All right, there we go. That's a little better. I forgot to turn lights on in here. And so the sun has gone down and now now I'm in the dark. About table topics, I have seen, and you probably have too, where I know good and well that person gave that speech because I heard it. It was an international speech or it was another speech that they did in a club, but they took a chunk of it. And why is that? Because the table topic, especially at contest, oh, please, please, please make it interesting. Don't do. If you could go back and tell your 20-year-old self something that, no, don't do that. Do something really interesting. Now, who knows Jeannie Elliott? I always tell this story. Jeannie Elliott is one of the most creative people in the entire universe. And I had her when I was Division G director like years ago. I asked her to be my contest master for the division contest. And that was when the conference theme was TV flashback. I don't know if y'all remember if you were there, but that's where you could go back to TV shows and you could have themes in TV. There was MASH and there was, well, we chose Westerns. Why? Because I have a flippin' horse. I brought hay and tack. I even brought a horse, people. I brought one of my horses for the theme. And Jeannie came as the sheriff. She had the thing and the badge, and she had two hats. She would put the black hat on when she was explaining the rules, the contest rules. And then she'd put the white hat on when she was being contest master and calling the contestants up. It was good. She was in character for 3 solid hours. I loved it. She was so good. Now, I say that to share this. I said, Jeannie, whatever your table topic is, you choose it, and I want it to be fun. This was one of the 2 best table topics contest I have seen in my, how long have I been in? Since 2011. In that, okay, this one, here's the table topic. You're not going to get a canned speech out of this. Now there's your problem. Now there's your problem. And not only could you not, so you remember that content, Judy? Oh, you were there? Awesome. You remember that? Okay. That it was the best answers. Oh my gosh. They were funny and they were all different. So if you've been to a contest, or you've been, you know, whether your club does or table topics, and you hear kind of the same answer because the question or the topic was kind of a generic, you know, you make it fun and interesting. I'll tell you the other one that I laughed until I almost peed in my pants, people. Oh my gosh, Judy, we recorded that. I just said that. Okay. It was so funny. And this was Division C, and this was Edwin Mercado. And Leslie, oh wait, her name just went Sue, Leslie. Why is her name just popped out of my head?
LaForty.
Thank you, LaForty. Jeez Louise. I see her right in front of me. Okay, Leslie LaForty, she was a new Toastmaster, and she was doing the table topic portion as contest master. And the topic was, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Now, if you remember, the contest master has to say it twice with each contestant. And it got to where Leslie would just do, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And then we heard that probably 10 times. Christina, you were there? We heard it about 10 times. We were rolling off the chairs. It was so funny. And the answers were excellent. And I don't know who the young guy was that won. I remember his closing line. And I have to think about it or else I'm going to say it incorrectly. He kind of told the story, and then it was, and so if you don't like that, well, then you can just chuck it. So I had to think before I said it. So, oh my gosh. I mean, this is why table topics is actually one of my favorites if it's done well. Now, which one would you rather hear? Woodchuck? Or what would you do if you could go back to your 20-year-old self? Who do you have in your life that you would go back and admire? Who is somebody in history that you'd like to go have lunch with? No. Make it fun. Give them a challenge, right? Who is a table topic lover like me? Anybody? Do you love it better now? There you go. Here come the hands. All right. I love table topics. Yes, and I love evaluations. I think those are great because you'll hear, because you hear everything from you didn't use the stage enough. You need to move around the space. You move too much, you need to stand still. You know how that goes? It's just so much fun. I think contests are fabulous. Anyway, all right. The last thing on there I believe I have is the judge all things. I don't know who knows Monty Ray Davidson or remembers Monty Ray. Kathy does. Yeah, Monty Ray Davidson. He was a lot of fun. I've lost track of him. He was a contestant several years and he would win international. I think he finally won international. He tried, and he kept coming, but he was very creative, very good. And he would win all the way up to district level. And I asked him one time, I said, Monty Ray, and he took it seriously and he worked hard and he very disciplined. And I said, if I could, I'm putting together this talk on this training. If I could tell the people listening anything from your point of view as a contestant who has done this year after year after year, what should I tell them? And he said to judge all things. And what he meant by that was and he was more of a physical, he was kind of acting, only it wasn't like an actor. He was funny, but he would say that so oftentimes if you're buried in the ballot, you're looking down and the speech contestant's beginning is a gesture, something funny or whatever, you missed it. So he said, judge all things. Don't be buried in the ballot when the contestant is up there. Watch what they're doing, then make your notes. Okay, so that was his thing. He said, please watch what they're doing because sometimes there's silence, but they're doing something. All right, I think that's it. Now, any questions or comments? Did anybody
I have
learn
a,
anything?
I have
Yes,
a
go.
question. Thank you for covering so much. I was been feverishly taking notes and I really appreciate it. Can you address how the judge addresses the speaking area or how they use that information if somebody goes out of the speaking area?
Well, my understanding is that they can't judge it down. It's not something that now somebody correct me if they have changed the rules, but the way I was trained with it is that you can't judge it down, but because it's not in the rule book, but it's just something I think that they try to contain for the audience, for the audience to be able to enjoy, and then everybody's kind of in the same spot. Same
Okay.
thing with the international going on video. Now
Hmm.
that's more important, but even then we were told that we had to, if they go off screen, and luckily none of them did. I did that a couple of times, and the way that international wants us to do the videos is same thing. They'll send you like these 8 contestants from this, district or region or what have you, or semifinals, and you need to sit down and just as if you were in live, that you were there. You have to sit down and watch every one of them and wait a minute in between. This is what they ask you to do. Watch the next one. And everybody stays pretty well in the spot. But that's my understanding. I'm willing to be wrong on that, but I don't think I am. It's not the rule book that they have to stay in that. That's not something that we would judge down on. Same thing
Thank
with
you.
props. I
Yeah.
remember hearing, oh, well, judges don't like that. They'll mark you down for that. I'm like, why? Show me in the rule book where it says you can't have one. And Louisa came in second 3 or 4 years ago, and she had props at the international level. So don't tell me you can't have props. Sure you can. However, you need to know and read the rule book that you have to set up your own props, and you have 1 minute to do it in between. So make sure that's so don't charge down on that either.
And then if you can address also maybe the speech topic or the position of the speaker is not one that you agree with, and how that should not affect you as a judge.
Are you talking about content of the speech?
Content of the speech,
Content, that's a
yes.
good one.
Yeah. Now, what is the question?
When there is the speech content or the position of the speaker is not one that you agree
Oh,
with, and how to
yes.
remain, judge worthy.
Okay, yes, actually, because that's one of the biases I covered is if, let's just say that somebody does a speech on gun ownership and the NRA, and you're like, I am anti-gun and all of that.
Okay.
That should not, you should not let that creep in. You're better than that. You're better. I would expect more from a judge on that. That doesn't matter what your personal opinion is on that. Now, flip side of that, and this is the professional speaking world, you're going to speak on your topic and take your positions and do what you're going to do. Same thing in Toastmasters. However, understand that you go into that, and if I say something that half this audience doesn't like and are deeply offended about, I'm taking that risk as the speaker. So I actually was there at a contest once. I think it was either club or area, and somebody actually spoke on the Second Amendment and gun ownership and all that. And I could just feel some people prickling. I could just feel it in the room, but it's like that. No, you need to do better, be better. Best speech of the day. If that one happens to be best speech of the day, well then suck it up. That's
Okay.
got to be the one. Yeah. Who else?
I have a question.
Okay, Julia.
So what if you're looking at all the numbers, the criterias, and they judge really high in all those different categories, and then, but you weren't emotional, like you didn't feel the emotion, like it just doesn't resonate with you. On the other hand, it was opposite. The person didn't really like it hit your emotions. Like how do you determine like what makes the best speech?
Well, you guys, what makes the best speech?
My answer would be that you, as the judge, you make that decision. You're your own tiebreaker. At the end of it, you assess between the two and decide which one is your winner, the emotion or the non-emotion, as the judge. That's my answer anyway. But I've never been a
Yes.
judge.
Oh, you haven't? Well,
Never.
then we need to fix that. All right, I'm pulling up I'm pulling up the ballot. Let's take a look real quick. That's a great question, actually, Julia. Let's take a look. Let's do that. All righty. Did everybody see that okay? All right, so one of those things in here is, see, it doesn't have anything about emotion, but I would almost think that would be, I'm going to be wrong. Y'all can have a different opinion, but maybe around here and being effective. I think one of the clear goals as presenters that we would have is to connect with the audience. How do we need to do that? So I would think that the effectiveness would be there. The physical voice, we know those are pretty, manner. I think that's interesting, where it says directness. Well, what does that mean? That's that's kind of enthusiasm, speech purpose, and audience.
I think that appropriateness often confuses judges, Beth, because I
Mhm.
think sometimes we take that in a way that means, was that appropriate for them to talk about? And that's not really what this says. This says, is it appropriate to the speech purpose? And I'll use your Second Amendment presentation.
Mhm.
Maybe I disagree with that, and I don't think it was appropriate. But on the other hand, their purpose was to defend the Second Amendment and present their arguments and so forth. So was the content appropriate to the purpose of that speech?
Correct. Correct. And that's a good way of saying it. Yeah, I think the appropriateness word is a bad one to have there, because that does invite that interpretation, doesn't it? Now, I think this is interesting. The grammar, I'm picky about grammar. At does not belong at the end of a sentence. And the word is, this is one that whenever I speak, I ask the evaluator to watch for this. Gonna, we all do that. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Well, it's not gonna, that's not the right word. So, yes. What else? Good questions. Thank you, Julia.
But sometimes
But sometimes
the pronunciation and the speech affect is part of
this is true.
their personality, their charm, and the content. So I think
If
you
it's,
need to be
yes,
careful.
if it
It
is,
adds to the process.
yes, if it is something that clearly is intentional, they're doing a voice of a relative, or that's not, yeah, thank you for clarifying, Vicky. Yes, now I wasn't referring to that. I was just saying, I know I say gonna instead of saying going to or going. Denise.
Yes, about that. And maybe my accent will let you know that I'm not American, right?
Mhm.
And many of the people in my club are foreign citizens, and we joined the club because we need, and we like to improve our English skills. How to balance that, how to judge. I will be a contestant actually
Awesome.
in the international contest. So how to balance that, taking into consideration that we are not native speakers.
Well, you sound fine to me.
Thank you.
Are you in Poblamos? What club are you in?
No, I'm in Melbourne, South Beach.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. And we have a French citizen, we have a Moroccan, we have a Russian, we have a Asian, and we all have our accents and our grammar,
Mhm.
little mistakes that we do from time to time.
Mhm.
So how to take that into account when you're judging?
Now there is, since you're asking that question, it's a good question. There is down here grammar and go away, whoever you, that little AI. I don't want AI in here. Thank you. Go away. The grammar and pronunciation here is on the ballot. However, I personally, you clearly are not a native English speaker, but if I can understand what you're saying, and even though you have an accent, if I get going, any of you have ever been in some of my workshops and I really get going, I start getting kind of a Southern thing happening. And I know it when I'm doing it. I'm like, oh, all of a sudden I'm sounding like I'm obviously from the South. So, yeah, I don't know if that
Okay.
helps any. Now that's something
Yes.
that judges should not take down on. We can understand what you're saying very clearly.
Hey,
Perfect.
Beth, can I make an observation, a comment?
Absolutely.
Yeah, an
Of course.
observation I've noticed. I'm not a great follower of the contest. I love them. I enjoy them. I've watched them on video, but I enjoy it. But just my personal observation, I am American, English my first language. I speak Spanish fluently as a second language, but I have observed being in Toastmasters 7 years now. There are a good number of, I think they're the world champion public speakers, the #1 slot, and contestants in the higher levels who speak English as a second language. And
Mhm.
what I have learned, I think second English speakers put more effort and work into our language than we do. We become a little bit complacent and lazy. I fall back on my Southern accent sometimes too if I get talking a lot.
I get going.
So yeah, just like you, Beth. Yeah, the Southern comes out of me.
I think that's a great comment, Randall. I think you are absolutely correct because international is international and we're from all over the world and it's fantastic and it's so much fun. I really enjoy it. All right, I think we have time if anybody has one more. It's 7:29 and I don't want to keep y'all late. I'm happy to stay on.
I
Nope.
just want to thank you for all the information that you gave today. It was really,
Yay.
I like how you presented to everyone. I thought it was very nicely done. Thank you for doing this.
Well, of course. Well, I appreciate being asked, Judy. Thank you. You know, I'll do anything that y'all need me to do, and I'm very happy to share. Oh, look at all the hearts. Oh. Wait, Julie, you had a question. Do you still have your question?
Well, I had the same question because
Okay.
there are a lot of people who have accents and grammatical errors because they were not born in this country. And I wonder how you can evaluate the international level, the speakers. And
Well, that's
you
a requirement.
gave,
Everyone must speak English. So by the time they
yeah,
get
that's
to
right.
that level,
Yes,
they're very easy to understand, I think.
yeah,
With the ones, all the people I have seen. So
right.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I
But
like the accents very much. I enjoy them.
I don't, but that's okay. I can't help it. Yeah,
All right. Well,
all
I
right.
appreciate all of you. Thank you very much for taking time.